I hope I'm wrong about that, but with more, nice enough to join us, NFL writer for Yahoo. He's been with Yahoo since 2012. Frank Schwab joining us. How are you today, Frank?
Doing well. How about you?
Good. Thanks so much for your time. Yeah, I happened to see your most recent power rankings, and it looks like you kind of struggled with your number one team because this is the first time in the history of your rankings you felt like, I don't know if they're the best team, but somebody has to be number one.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, actually, but it feels weird. It feels rare that I put the Buccaneers number one. But if you're asking me, do I really think the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL? The answer is no. And look, I picked the Buccaneers to win the NFC this year. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I should be doing victory laps. I should be saying, oh, my goodness, look, the Buccaneers are the best record in the NFC. But if I'm being honest, I look at that team and I'm like, they've gotten really, really lucky in close games so far. And if they lost even one of those close games, would we be putting the Buccaneers number one? No. But who's at the circle of trust right now? Who do you absolutely trust? Who you would say, yep, that's the best team in football? The Lions, who 1/3 of their games they've lost by double digits, or the Eagles, who have lost 2 in a row, or the Bills, who gave up 335 yards in the first half last night and have lost 2 in a row. Like, there's not one team right now I trust. Not one. And the team I might trust the most is the Chiefs. They're 3-3. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just been a crazy first 6 weeks where I don't remember getting this deep into it in mid-October where I say, I don't see one elite team. Not one team I trust. I know there will be elite teams. There are some teams where if I squint and kind of, tell myself, oh, okay, well, this is going to happen. Okay, I can see the path to them being elite. But nobody right now who I can sit here and tell you without any question that, this team is a Super Bowl contender. Like, it's just weird how the beginning of the season has gone.
Frank, if you were a fly on the wall at a NFL executive meeting, the top brass of the NFL, and they're gathered around a table, do you think they're discussing the parity in the NFL right now with a sense of excitement? Like, we don't know who's going to win. This is great. Anything could happen on any given Sunday. Or do you think if they're forecasting to these number of potential Super Bowl matchups and maybe not the marquee markets being involved in them this year, or projecting the marquee markets to be involved in them, do you think they're a little concerned about what that forecasts for the playoffs and beyond?
Right, and I think with the NFL, it's less about markets. I mean, this isn't Major League Baseball, which is covered like only 4 teams exist, right? Like the NFL is going to draw ratings for its playoffs. There could be there could be even a team in Green Bay, Wisconsin that makes the Super Bowl and everybody would tune in, right? Yeah. Like, it just doesn't matter that much. But I think the NFL is better when there's like elite teams, when a 15-2 Chiefs team makes the Super Bowl. I don't think there's a ton of buzz and excitement when 9-8 wildcard teams make the Super Bowl. Not that that's happened yet, but you know what I mean? Like, I just think there's more rooting interest when there's at least one elite team in the Super Bowl where everybody's seeing if they get knocked off, get upset, whatever, or seeing, how good they can be in that Super Bowl. Matchups matter, stars matter, some of the brand names in the sport matter, Mahomes and the Chiefs and all that. So, but I think overall the league knows we're going to tune in to whoever plays in the Super Bowl. Whatever 2 teams play in the Super Bowl, we're going to tune in. We're going to tune in no matter who plays in the playoffs. It really doesn't matter. And having this many teams feel like, hey, our season isn't over, I think is ultimately what the league wants. I think the league wants to go into December with as many cities as possible saying, hey, I know my team right now is 7-8, but if we get on a roll, we win our last 2 games, the tiebreakers, we can make a wild card, and who knows. I think the NFL absolutely likes that. It's totally different than baseball. It's totally different than the NBA, where whoever gets in, they just don't care come playoff time. But it does matter for late in the season when, some of these teams are just irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Frank Schwab with us, NFL writer for Yahoo. Frank, the way we've been talking about it is there's kind of a jumble bucket of teams. There's a bucket full of a lot of teams. The only teams not in the bucket are the really bad teams and then the really good teams. But right now, only the bad teams are out of it. Everybody, all the other teams are in this jumble bucket. I know you mentioned the Chiefs. Who do you think are the teams most likely to climb out of it and assert themselves as better teams down the stretch of this season?
Yeah, obviously Chiefs won, like you said. I think the Lions are really good. I do. Look, they have lost two games by double digits, but I was at the Packers, who were ready to play in that game. That was the best performance all year, I think. It's going to be the best performance all year. And then at the Chiefs without half of their secondary. So I don't sit here and hold it much against the Lions that they lost those two games, but you really don't want to see it either. And a team I'll give you that, I don't know, I just watch this team every week. I think the conversation about them is different had they not completely blown a couple of home games in the last 2 minutes. The Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks are going to be really, really good. Defense is excellent. Sam Darnold's playing really well. The offense has a lot of playmakers, including JSN, who's making a star turn this year. I think Seattle's really far up there. And I also do think the Eagles are going to make it. Like, I think the Eagles, we always overreact to the Eagles because that's kind of what we do with Philly and a couple other teams. Definitely the Philly market does. But look at that roster. How can that roster not be good? How can that roster not be elite by the end of the season? They have so many guys. And the Bills, too, just because they have Josh Allen. So a few teams, at least, I can see digging out of whatever mess they're in. But there are some messes to clean up around the NFL.
Frank, I'm looking forward to your coverage of the NFL trade deadline that's about 3 weeks away because like you talked about a little bit earlier with the amount of parity in the league right now, it seems like there's going to be a whole lot more buyers than sellers. I'm curious if we watched what happened with the Buffalo Bills last night. It sure looks like Josh Allen could use a number one option weapon as a receiver to go and get. And I feel like the Bills should be looking at the chaos of the league right now going, we need to be the team to rise above the rest. This is the year to go out and win it with the Chiefs being not as good as we would expect them to be. Are the Bills the team that you think should be the most active or desperate at the trade deadline to go out and find that weapon? Or are there other teams that you think, man, they really need to go out and fight to get a piece, even if they have to overpay a losing team, maybe the Raiders, to go out and get it?
Yeah, and I think the Bills are a good example. But, I mean, they tried this last year with Amari Cooper, and what did that do them except lose a draft pick? I mean, so I always warn that anybody you're going to get at the trade deadline likely is flawed in some way. Like, you're not getting Jamar Chase at the trade deadline. Like, that just doesn't happen. But teams can add. They can. I think one of the most interesting teams is the 49ers, to be honest with you, because let's be like, I don't know what they should do. They're 4-2. They should feel like our offense is going to be great. No matter what injuries have had to happen or whatever, and the offense is going to be fine because Kyle Shanahan's calling plays, and he's a genius. But can you add enough to the defense to make up for losing Fred Warner and Nick Bosa? I don't know the answer to that. And I don't know if you sit there, if you're John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan trying to figure this thing out. I think on one hand you say, we have an aging team. We have a team that they're determined to give Christian McCaffrey like 1,700 touches this year and just wear him into the ground going into his age 30 season. That's fine, but all of a sudden you look at him, you look at Kittle, you look at Bosa and Warner are both older players. I think Warner's going to be 30 and Bosa 29, or the other way around, coming off major injuries, and Trent Williams. And I mean, a lot of guys who you're like, the expiration date's going to hit pretty quick with this team. Do we just go all in right now? Or do you say, again, like, who are you getting at the trade deadline who's really going to make a difference? Like, I don't know that the Bengals are necessarily going to trade Trey Hendrickson. That would be a guy who might make a huge difference and replace Bosa. But then what do you do at linebacker where you got a bunch of young guys? Do you trade, most of your draft for next year to just get a Trey Hendrickson type and some middle linebacker, Demario Douglas? I don't even know who's available right now as far as these teams are kind of out of it. I don't know what the 49ers do. I really do. I think they're the most interesting team. I really do. Because they could go one of two directions, and I could see the reasoning for both directions. I just don't know. I don't know how you manage that if you're the 49ers, whether you just say, hey, we got to try because the Super Bowl window's closing pretty quick, or do you say, look, it's just a lost cause at this point. We lost two all-pro defensive player of the year candidates. We can't fix that. We can't win a Super Bowl without those guys. I just don't know the answer there.
For great NFL coverage, if you're not already, make sure you check out Frank Schwab at Yahoo. Thank you, Frank, so much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad he touched on the 49ers there.
Yeah.
49ers aren't doing anything.
You
heard Kyle talking about it? Well, it's